one. You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
You know what I love?
Nachos?
Yes, I do love. I love a good platter of nachos. But I love when people prove they didn't watch a movie just by things they say about it in their negative comments, you know? Like today's feature. Fucking you can definitely tell who watched and didn't watch these movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
with the whole remake talk.
The remake talk.
Yeah. Oh man. We'll get into that in a minute, but I swear, like, I feel like people don't even fucking watch these anymore, but they see other people complaining and they're like, I'm gonna complain too. I want to be part of the group. This would be fun. And they're like, I got to do with this stupid movie. I didn't like it. And it's like, you didn't watch it. You didn't fucking watch it.
And it's one thing if you didn't like it when you did watch it.
And nobody comes at me like that anymore because I kept calling them out. Because I'd be like, you didn't watch this movie. That would be my response to someone like that. And then they just block me. So now nobody comes at me saying how a movie I'm talking about sucks.
Right.
Except for that one guy the other day. Not a fan. I was like, what kind of response is that?
Not a fan of this movie?
Of the
not
movie,
a fan
not
of
a fan of us? Did I do something wrong? Like, can you imagine if that's how people talked in real life? A Jude just walks up to the cereal aisle, not a fan, and just walks off.
Of the cereal?
Like, how you doing today? Not a fan. Of the day? Of the store?
The cereal.
What?
What is happening? I'm
just fucking,
so confused.
Just fucking say not a fan to everything from now on.
That's our motto now. Not a fan.
Ordering at a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. Ooh, braised beef and tortelloni. See? Like, it's just fucking explain yourself.
Right.
Talk in complete sentences. Type in complete sentences. Can we get some tweets that make sense these days? I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to talk like an old person. But anyway, rant done. Rant done. Welcome to Night of the Horrorphile, a horror movie and genre film podcast where I take a horror movie or genre film and show it to my beautiful wife, Brittany, who then gives us her input. Now, this month, we have been doing some new movies I saw that I think were, stuck out as some of the best I saw in 2021. But more importantly, for those of you who tuned in for the past 2 months before this, it's all horror, which has been lovely. And, And today we are doing, it's definitely a sequel to a movie we've covered in the past. You remember?
A sequel.
Yeah, a sequel. It's a sequel. It's a sequel. It's not a remake.
Not a remake.
What is this sequel we watched this week, Brittany?
Candyman.
That's right. We watched 2021's Candyman. Now, okay. We will definitely talk about the like I said, there's a telltale sign when you can tell if someone has even watched this movie when they start complaining, when they say it's the worst remake ever. That's another person that blocked me on the interwebs because they were like, this is the worst remake I've ever seen. And it's like, well, that's good because it's not a remake. So,
don't you like when the trash takes itself out?
Oh, it's lovely. My friends list has decreased by like 20. It's been nice. It's been a wonderful time. But anyway, so yes, 2021's Candyman and our official best of 2021. This is not a theme month. It's what we chose to go with, but it keeps trucking this week with a movie I thought got too much. I feel like it got a little too much flack for people that didn't get it.
Right.
Now I'm not saying it wasn't praised. It fucking made a boatload of money and it wonderful critical praise and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people were left in the dust with this one, and we'll talk about it as we go, but I'm pretty sure they hadn't seen they didn't really watch this, and they didn't really watch the original movie.
Right.
But, you know, that's just me. Moving on. But as soon as it was available to rent, you know, I watched this. Yeah, I didn't get to see this in theaters, mostly because COVID, but also because like I was kind of freaked out. I was like, this is a movie I really love.
Right.
I love the original 1992 Candyman. And my thought was, oh, they're remaking it, because everybody kept calling it a remake. So I'm just assuming it's a remake. So I was like, I'll catch it on video. Fuck it.
Right.
You know, that's how I treat remakes. I still watch them, but I'll wait till they come out on video. I'm not shelling out the money for them. So I did the same with this. You know, as soon as it was available to rent, I hopped on it, and I was not disappointed.
Right.
You know, more on that later, but I watched this a total of 2 times in the same night.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, once because it was, you know, I sat down to watch it once, and then the second time I analyzed it. So you know that's a good movie when I start analyzing things. Now, a Candyman sequel is not something unheard of. You know, it was not something that, wow, they're making a Candyman sequel. You know, the franchise have had 2 sequels already. You had Candyman 2, Farewell to Flesh, and Candyman 3, Day of the Dead in the late 90s. Both movies star Tony Todd, and I'd say they're pretty good watches. I mean, they're decent. The second being Bill Condon's directorial debut, and the third is where they just made Candyman a run-of-the-mill slasher, which I think, and don't get me wrong here, I think people have confused that first movie, not with the third one, but have confused it with another slasher they saw during the 90s. Because
really?
The Candyman movies, the third one excluded, but they've never really struck me as a slasher movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never considered them a part of the slasher genre at all.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it technically is, but not really. I mean, especially today's movie, you would not classify this as a slasher, even though they still do. But I don't know. We'll discuss the themes and stuff and how we feel as we go on. Okay. But anyway, you know, the third kind of caused the franchise to kind of fizzle out. However, in the early 2000s, a little movie called Freddie versus Jason came out, and that thing fucking swept the box office, you know. Freddie versus Jason, it's hard to think of now because a lot of people rewatch that movie and they hate it. I still love it. It's a fun fucking monster versus monster movie. But like a lot of people rewatch it and they're like, oh God, it's so bad and stuff like that, you know, like they do. And it's kind of hard to imagine that at one point Freddie versus Jason was the #1 movie at the box office. It was fucking ginormous. So with all that popularity Freddie versus Jason caused again, you know, it looked like Monster versus Monsters movies, you know, were coming back, making a big old comeback. It's weird. Maybe we'll cover more of that when we do Freddie versus Jason at some point. I don't know, 2030 or something. We have so many we do these sequentially. Right. So I don't know. We might that's like 12 movies later. But it kind of looked like that stuff was coming back. So studios started trying to round up monsters from like the 90s and 80s and have them fight each other.
That's so weird to me.
And somebody, it is really weird. Somebody fucking thought that they would get Candyman versus Leprechaun.
What?
Candyman versus the Leprechaun.
You had to say it and you said it louder.
I still don't
like I didn't hear you. I heard
have read about this. I have read that it was like a studio thing where they were like, well, we'll just pair up a couple of monsters. Like, we'll
those are the weirdest fucking monsters you could do.
They don't seem to exist in the same plane of reality.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, a leprechaun, what is the association? Like, what does Candyman and a leprechaun have in common? How would they even meet? I don't know. Maybe because a leprechaun in the hood, so they were thinking black people. Fucking racist ass studios. Yeah. Fucking racist studio thought. But luckily, you guys, that didn't fucking come. That did not fucking happen because Tony Todd absolutely rejected the fucking script. And, you know, at the time in the early 2000s, who are you going to do? You can't get anybody else to play Candyman because we were still a little afraid to recast people, which we still are. we still are kind of freaked out to cast our villains in horror movies, recast people. And now if they're wearing masks and stuff, we'll recast them then. But like, Freddy Krueger. Yeah, we tried to do that with Jackie Earle Haley and he was a little too molesty. But I don't know how you make a child killer like grosser, but they made Freddie gross in that remake. But anyway, so he rejected the script saying that like he would have nothing to do with anything like that.
Thank goodness.
I just imagine Tony Todd. Yeah, sure. All right. A Candyman, say a Candyman versus the what now?
The what?
The Leprechaun.
Why didn't they do like, why wouldn't
he verse another urban legend movie?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like Candyman versus another ghost or something. I don't know.
Yeah. The one from
Candyman versus Scooby-Doo would have been more interesting. The fucking
what is that guy? What's that movie? I Know What You Did Last Summer. That guy.
Candyman versus the fucking fisherman.
Yeah,
that would. You know what?
That
Both hooks.
Yeah,
there's two hooks.
Yeah,
that's good. Hook
that is on
hook.
the same playing field.
This summer you'll get hooked.
And
twice.
You know what's on the same playing field as Leprechaun would be like a gremlin.
Yeah.
Why don't I?
Could
make
you imagine
these
what the fuck would that even look like? Like, but I could definitely see Candyman versus the Hook if you want to get stupid with it. Have Hook versus Hook. Maybe Captain Hook shows up at the end or something.
That's yeah.
Oh God, stupid movie studio. We can make the dumbest movie. Why don't we have jobs in Hollywood? We just came up with like 2 Hollywood ideas. That's a Hollywood idea right now, right there, man. But anyway, so yeah, past that, luckily we didn't get fucking cursed with that shit. I would have said Candyman 5 times in the fucking mirror. If that like, kill me now, sir.
I want you to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never done it.
I think you should do it live.
I'm spooked.
On air.
I'm spooked.
I have a mirror.
It'd be so funny. I do it. Just Tony Todd walks into the bathroom. What? I said that. Yeah, I know what. Nothing, Mr. Todd.
Nothing. Never mind.
Nothing.
Never mind.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. God damn it. Just walks out.
Do you want to do it? Do you want me to get the mirror?
Sure, we can do it.
God. Hold on a second.
No, we'll not do it right now. Let's go.
Oh, you're scared?
No, I'm not scared. Maybe we'll do it on Patreon or something. I don't know. I'm not scared.
Oh, scared. Too scared.
I'm not scared.
If you weren't scared, then why haven't you done it?
I don't know, but I wonder if I could like get Tony Todd to fucking make a cameo or something. No. Like we do the video and it's actually Tony Todd pops up on it. That'd be fucking amazing. Anyway. But back to the movie, around 2004, rumors were that a 4th film was moving forward with original story author Clive Barker attached with a budget of about $25 million. Now, disputes between the rights and who owned what kind of killed that.
Oh.
Which is really funny because I remember, God, I was alive during this. Isn't that fucked up? Some people who listen to our show were born in like 2007. Yeah. But yeah, I know. But like, I remember talks of this stuff because I was a fan of the franchise, even though those 2 movies went to Stupid Town, it still had fucking Tony Todd. So you still, you're like Tony Todd. I was doing fingers and Brittany's making fun of me. What was that? Why did I do a come hither movement with my fingers as Stupid Town? What am I doing? I just fingered you through the air is what just fucking happened.
I didn't feel it.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to use my powers.
Doesn't work like that.
Anyway. But yeah, I was alive during that stuff and just hearing talks of that. I was a fan of those original ones. And so I was kind of excited, but it kept getting killed, So you eventually just stopped fucking listening to anything.
Right.
But flash forward to 2018, Jordan Peele has had a lot of success with the horror genre with his very poignant films Us and Get Out, which are 2 of those are up on my perfect list, by the way, everybody.
Oh.
I know I'm going to get thrown out of the horror community for them. But and his revival of The Twilight Zone, which I thought was an excellent revival. I fucking loved his Twilight Zone.
Was it a TV show or a
yeah,
movie?
yeah, no, it is a TV show. I think it's still on CBS. We can watch it sometime. I'll just show you an episode. We're not going to do it for the podcast, but
okay, good because
I loved it. I thought it was great. But around 2018, Peele announced that through his company Monkey Paw Productions, he would be tackling a sequel to the 92 classic. He said it was a sequel, people.
He did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They said they would do a follow-up to the 92 classic. Now, it got a little muddled as you went, because they were trying to keep the plot secret.
Right.
So, in the marketing thing does make it look like a remake. So, I mean, I'm not going to fault people who saw the trailer and thought they were getting a remake. So, I'm not targeting my hate at you guys. Don't worry. But things got even more exciting when DaCosta was brought on to help write and direct. Now, she introduced a lot of the elements that we have in the final piece today, including removing a weird bit of plot that had Helen's spirit from the first movie.
Oh, God.
Guiding Coleman Domingo's character William in his obsession to recreate Candyman.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm glad I'm glad whatever she did to drop that sounds great. I don't need that.
We don't need ghost Helen.
That would have been a lot. Yeah, we don't need ghost Helen. But to me, DaCosta, she's a really good fucking director.
Oh, yeah.
I do not think I've heard people praise her, but I do not think she gets enough credit for how good her directing is, her camera work, and the way this movie fucking looks. Man, this is a gorgeous fucking movie.
I've seen a few of her movies, right?
I don't know. Now I've seen she started.
Why have we talked about her before?
I've talked her up a lot.
Yeah.
I've talked her up a lot.
I think I have seen a couple of her movies.
She's slowly becoming one of my favorite directors.
Oh.
So yeah. She's very fucking good though. She had her like fucking great director debut with Little Woods, which was this like complex drama, like a family drama type thing. Mm-hmm. And that debuted, I think, one of the film festivals. But so I was pretty excited to see how these two, Jordan Peele and DaCosta, which I love that Jordan Peele, I love that a lot of these comedians, they go from comedy and they go into horror and it's so fucking good. Mm-hmm. Like it definitely shows that there is a relationship between comedy and horror. There's those, those same kind of beats that you get with comedy happens in horror.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited to see how these two tackled a story like Candyman. With today's story, I think Jordan Peele was perfect to reinvigorate it. Jordan and DaCosta, not just because of the racial themes,
Right.
It's very easy to say, well, because they're black. Well, no. Yes and no. Like yes and no. But you can definitely tell they care about this story,
right?
Today's story, and they care about that original movie. So I thought I think they're perfect at it, but we'll get as we go on. The racial themes and stuff in today's movie were much more closer to their hearts than they were Bernard Rose, who directed the first one.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I'll talk about it, but I feel like Bernard Rose kind of shied away from a lot of the heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But also the times. You got to think about the times that these were made.
I feel like Bernard Rose was playing it a little too safe with that original Candyman.
Well,
he
probably felt like he had to.
I think he did. He's a white British guy. But he still crafted an amazing movie with a lot of great undertones. But anyway. So with all that, let's save some of our conversation for the actual movie. But with all that in mind, let's dive into 2021's Candyman.
So a boy named William is playing with shadow puppets. And they come and they stab you 500 million times because they're shadow puppets and they're tiny.
Holy shit. I would hate to get stabbed by shadow puppets.
Just shadow puppets, not anything else?
That just sounds like a very fucking embarrassing death. Lee Evans killed by shadow puppets. God damn it.
Wouldn't that just be real people? Like,
what?
Wouldn't that just be real people? Because people do the shadow puppets?
That's a good point.
Unless the shadow puppets come to life.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes me think of that one movie with the dolls, the little dolls. We watched it.
Oh, the wonderful movie, Tales from the Hood.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good episode we did.
But that's what I imagined when I said that.
Tales from the Hood Dolls.
Yes,
that's great.
just stabbing you to death.
I'll talk about those puppets in a little while, but those things are a really cool addition to this. It's a really cool way to tell the past stories and stuff.
Oh yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, the hard part about bringing Candyman back to 2021 has got to be how to pay tribute to the original while also attracting new fans. I mean, because you don't want to do pure fan service when you make a movie. You still got to worry about making money,
right?
So you want new fans to come in on this. So that's your issue because you're making a sequel to a movie that came out in 1992.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I will say Candyman was not on the tip of everybody's fucking tongue.
Right.
Around 2020 and 2021. Yes, I feel like a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon, but it really wasn't that huge of a fucking movie to some people besides the horror buffs and stuff like that. So they had a hard balancing act, I feel, with this movie. To try to keep it not fresh, but like understandable for someone who might jump in on this and not have seen that original.
Right.
Which is something Todd said, because a lot of people were like, well, because they didn't announce, which we'll get to it at the end of the movie, but they announced that Todd was maybe going to be in the movie, but somebody else was playing Candyman.
Right. Which is confusing.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a little confusing to some people, but he did say, he was excited that this movie would probably make people go back and watch that original movie.
Yeah. I agree. I would. Yeah. If I saw this first, I'd want to go back and watch the original.
Yeah, yeah. But it confused a lot of people. It would seem. To this day, people still call this a remake. Like I said earlier, which leads, like I said, I do not think you couldn't have watched this movie.
There's no way that it's a remake, because if it was remade, why are they talking about the past? Why are they talking about the original fucking movie?
Literally, everyone talks about that first movie.
Right.
Every fucking new character that gets introduced talks about that original fucking movie. So what are you talking about?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just glad they didn't do like flashbacks.
Yes.
Like we didn't have to see like clips from the original movie.
Yes, I was pretty happy about that.
I don't want that. I hate it when
we already saw the original movie.
We've seen it. We don't need to pull a fucking a fucking Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Right.
Show
my God, that movie was just
it's
the
entire first movie, and then like 30 minutes of fucking original content. Yes. But yeah, we didn't need that,
No, we definitely didn't, because they talked about it enough.
Well,
but they didn't talk about it in
They don't
such
talk about it like we're okay. They don't talk about it like we're watching a sequel.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, especially because like what you see when they were talking about stuff that happened in the past, and even this movie, is they show it in that puppet. Those shadow puppets and stuff, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But like, you're not sitting there seeing like scenes from the original movie, because the way they discuss it is through the dialogue, and it makes fucking sense why somebody would be talking about this.
Right. They're talking about it like an urban legend, because that's exactly what it was. Yes.
And I love that.
Yes.
Like, because what they do here, Jordan Peele and DaCosta, what they did here was they took the lore that was Candyman that was set up in that original one, and what they do is really smart, because they break it down and they expand it.
Right. And I love it.
Yeah, it returns Candyman to a more well, I think we talked about this in our episode on that, but he's more ethereal. Uh-huh. And they return him to more of the legend than he is just a slasher villain. Than just a black Freddy Krueger or something.
We'll get to that. We'll pause on that for a second, because I have
we have a lot to discuss in this episode. It's going to be a very discussion heavy episode, which also I think one of the things that this movie has a lot of that we're going to discuss today is a lot of racial stuff to do with racial violence and stuff like that.
Right.
And I chose this movie to do for Black History Month as well, which I keep repeating. Black History is not just a month,
Right.
You should definitely do research for yourself and definitely read about that stuff now that you're an adult and you can do it.
I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because I don't do enough reading and research and stuff, and I don't know.
There's a reason. There is a reason I'm very cynical about America's past. But anyway.
So a boy named William is playing shadow puppets when his mom tells him to go do laundry. This takes place at Cabrini Green in 1977. And so he has to walk to the laundry facility. And when he gets there, he sees a piece of candy fall on the ground. He then catches a glimpse of a man crawling through a hole in the wall. And the man has a hook for a hand.
Right.
Then we see 2 police officers sitting outside and they hear a boy scream. Hold on before we go any further.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, this hole in the wall, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I wanted to point it out before you did. Okay, this hole in the wall has a certain kind of shape to it.
Mm.
And it's pretty big. I mean, a man crawls through it. Like, it's pretty big, right? There's so many shapes in this movie of that shape. There's so many things.
There are so many. The magic of this fucking movie. It's gorgeous, but there are so many use of mirrors and stuff. First of all, we'll get to the mirrors in a bit, but like there's so many uses of stuff like that, just reoccurring elements.
Yeah. So like in the art gallery, there's some like painting or lighting or something like that is this shape. In the critic's bathroom, her bathroom door is kind of this shaped.
Yeah, it's definitely like how okay, well, I wasn't going to talk about this until later, but
I'm sorry.
It's definitely speaking on stuff that has happened in the past. Kind of seeping into the present. You know, that's a big theme about this fucking movie. You know, the stuff that is made just such a fucking tear. You know, a hole in the wall, if you will, in our past can seep into our present. And I think just that's a little bit of it, you know?
Right. And I'm sorry, I analyzed this movie a little bit and I'm like, fuck, what have you turned me into?
What's nice about this is it's not cryptic. You know, that original 92 classic. I love it. I love the undertones and stuff like that, but it's very cryptic with it because like we said, Bernard Rose probably wanted to kind of be a little safe. Right. You know, with how he handled the racism and stuff in that movie.
That makes sense.
Because it doesn't. That original movie is more to do about it's more to do about the horrors of like housing and stuff, the Cabrini Greens, which we're back at in this movie. Right now we're in the row houses and stuff like that, which are the only things that exist now. Cabrini Greens is gone basically, except for a few row houses that exist. And we see that in the movie and stuff because the whole area has been gentrified. Right. But this movie, unlike that original movie, more talks about, well, like what I said, the past and stuff affecting our present.
Because it does. Yeah. It does for sure. And not just in this movie, in real life.
I mean, because you could take in this movie, especially, you could take the Candyman as an allegory for, you know, the past atrocities that were committed in the act of racism and stuff like that. You could take the Candyman as an allegory for that. You know, he's the embodiment of every fucking terrible thing that has happened in the past to black culture and stuff like that, and how it's been warped and destroyed and stuff. You take that as an embodiment. Because stuff you do, here's the thing about stuff you do in the past and stuff like that, and the atrocities and stuff, they don't go away. Right. They never fucking disappear. No. Like, it just recreates itself as something different.
And here we are.
Exactly. Yes. There is always a fucking reaction to stuff. Right. Doesn't matter what it is.
So fast forward to 2019, a couple, Troy and Grady, are going to have dinner with Anthony and Bree.
You were super excited about this because Troy and Anthony are a gay couple. And it was nice to see a gay couple in a movie being represented and it not being like, look how gay they are, guys. Right. Because they're not. They're just people. Right. So it was nice. And it makes you wonder, like, is that a tribute to Clive Barker? Because Clive Barker was gay and he was in an interracial relationship for the longest time. Nice. And so I don't know. But then again, the art director is named Clive and I didn't know. I was like, what are you saying here? Because we'll get to the art director in a minute. That guy's a dick. Yes. But first of all, before we go any further, I want to talk about the intro to this movie.
Okay.
The beginning credits of this. First of all, before the movie even starts, like the logos, the studio logos, it's all reversed.
Yeah.
In that mirror image.
I was going to ask you about
Yeah.
that. I was like, why is it backward? I was like,
I thought something fucked up when I first was watching this movie.
I was like, oh shit, what happened?
I was like, God damn it, Voodoo, you fucking cheat me out of $6. What the hell? So I was thinking like something was fucked up, but then you get into it and you realize what's going on. It's that mirror motif, the reflections, which again has to do with reflections of the past.
Yeah,
which
I like that.
I love the mirror motif in this. Like,
so
DaCosta does such a wonderful job at keeping it not gimmicky.
Right.
It's very fucking intriguing.
And I mean, a mirror is a big part of this.
Yeah, it's always been a big part of the Candyman legend.
Right, but there's so much use of mirror in this one.
This one goes above and beyond with it, unlike the original one.
Yeah.
Which just stuck to, that's where you summoned him.
Right.
This one has its use of mirrors is very cool. We'll get to it. One of the coolest fucking kill scenes I've seen in 2021 is coming up.
Okay.
But no, like I love how this opens. Now, if you remember that 92 movie, that one opened with an aerial shot of Chicago. We talked in depth about that, how it was just a wonderful fucking opening.
Yeah.
Chicago's a beautiful city. And so you have that aerial shot. Well, this one is the exact mirror image of that shot, but you're looking up into the clouds, these high-rise buildings and stuff as you're going through. I love how this thing opens up.
So Troy doesn't like that his sister lives in this apartment complex building thing, this high-rise apartment.
Well, because I think they live where Cabrini Greens used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he says that it's haunted. Troy then tells a story about a white woman named Helen Lyle, and we're seeing the shadow puppets.
Right.
We see them throughout the movie when they're talking about Helen or Candyman.
Right, and those shadow puppets were created by Chicago-based puppet theater Manual Cinema, which again, this is a cool fucking way to do this. And it was what I said, it was Jordan Peele's idea because he thought it's hilariously bad when a movie like this takes scenes from the original movies and just shows them over again.
Right.
Because they very well could have fucking done that. But they don't do it here. They do a more inventive way of showing you the past and stuff.
Right. So he says that Helen was a grad student doing research at Cabrini Green, and she went there a few times and then went crazy. She kidnaps a baby and tries to sacrifice it at the bonfire, but the residents stop her and she just walks into the fire, sacrificing herself or whatever.
Yeah, and I love how that thing takes on a game of telephone because after so many years, you would expect it not to be,
Oh, yeah.
Right
so, yeah.
I do learn from Vanessa Williams, who is spoilers, Tony Todd and Vanessa Williams are the only two cast members who come back. Virginia Madison does do the voice of Helen Lyle later, but that's about it. You don't see her.
Right.
But we do learn from Vanessa Williams that everybody took a pact not to talk about him anymore. So we're living in an area when Candyman's gone.
Right. Nobody's talking about him really. Right. And before I go on further, I have to explain this, and I don't know why I didn't write this down, but Anthony is an artist and Bree is a art director,
curator or something like that.
Yeah. So that's where this artistry comes in.
I like you mentioned this. You were like, it's really cool to see artists in the movies and stuff. You don't get that much anymore. I think that was largely a 90s thing. But you don't get a lot of movies based around artists and stuff like that, which I like. You could say this is like a hipster type movie, but I like how, it takes place in the current and stuff, but it looks at a different type of people than the original one did. This one's looking at the people who have been gentrified and kind of have adapted to this new, way of living.
Right. So all this talk about Cabrini Green has inspired Anthony to do some research for his next big painting that he wants to do. So he goes down to Cabrini Green to take pictures. And there are these bees following him, and one of them stings him on the hand. Anthony runs into a man named William, who owns the laundromat. William tells Anthony about Helen and Candyman, and he says that Candyman got accused of hiding a razor blade in a little white girl's candy, so the cops were looking for him.
Now, okay, so Anthony is played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who he's fucking great in this goddamn movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the only things I've really seen him in were he played Black Manta in that Aquaman movie, and he was in the Watchmen television series that was on was that FX that they had that on? I think so. I don't remember, but that's the only things I saw him in. But this movie, he really carries this fucking movie, man.
Oh yeah,
like he's very good in it. And fucking Coleman Domingo, who plays William.
Oh yeah,
this dude.
I was confused for a second because I thought you were already talking about William.
No.
I was like, wait, what?
Anthony was
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's yeah. But Coleman Domingo is fucking awesome in this movie.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I really want more of him. I've not seen him in much. I think I've seen him in bits of Fear the Walking Dead or whatever that show is that I don't watch. I've seen him on commercials and stuff, but I've not seen a lot of him.
Right.
And stuff. And after this movie, I was like, man, I really want more of that actor. He's fucking good in this.
Yes. They were all, I don't know, they were all just so captivating. I wanted to watch them all.
well, that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people really, critics gave that a lot of credit for this, but like the writing is so fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's hokey.
Yeah, it's not. And everything is necessary.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those movies you can't just pop on in the background and watch. But what's really nice is the runtime on this thing. This thing runs at a clip.
Yeah, because the runtime's only like an hour and 30 minutes.
Out of all 4 movies in the Candyman franchise, this is the shortest. That's why I was saying, you know, I am so glad they didn't go with that fucking storyline where Helen's ghost is doing shit.
Yes.
That would have been a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't need that.
So this is where we realize that William is the kid from the beginning, obviously.
Because he's talking about Sherman.
Yeah. Well, the police, then we see that the police rush in and beat and kill Sherman Fields, this Candyman.
Yeah.
Which was obviously unnecessary because they found more blades and more candy just 2 weeks later.
Yeah, you're saying, you know, another white girl turns up dead.
Right.
Which a lot is going on here.
Oh my God.
You know, I think this is, it seems like this, that like, I think a lot of people who complained about this movie, who I will tell you, I like reading reviews before we do these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I can get a feel of like what everybody feels about this movie before I say everybody hates a movie, you know, and everybody's on board. I look like a crazy person. So I like to read the reviews and general consensus. And a lot of people were calling this political propaganda.
Oh my God.
But this story here is obviously a commentary on fucking police brutality.
Right.
And, you know, the fact that like, because he's a weird black man who's passing out candy, he must have killed the white girl with the razor blade candy. When I mean, really, that could be anyone. Like, how do you know it's just this guy? Because only because he passes out candy to the neighborhood children. Like that's it.
I don't know.
That's all you
he
got?
was a little creepy though.
He is a little creepy at first. But
when he walks through that
I'm sorry,
wall with the candy in his hand, I was like,
oh God. But yeah, you're right. If somebody's walking through a wall with candy, which even he fucking freaks out at first.
Yeah.
But like, I don't see this as political propaganda. I don't understand what people mean by that when this is just shit that happened.
Right.
Like this kind of, not this specifically, but like this kind of shit happens, which I think is really weird because they wrote and filmed this before the Black Lives Matter protests.
Right. And before George Floyd and all of that
so
stuff,
nobody's doing political propaganda here. Like,
right.
This is just truths.
But that's what they say about this stuff, is that this is political propaganda, that this shit didn't happen before George Floyd and shit. Yes, the fuck it did.
Right. And everybody's comfortable with them making a movie based on a murderer or something like that. Like, oh, this is the real true atrocities that happen. But like everybody gets really fucking uncomfortable and I don't know, takes their hands off their dicks as soon as fucking racial
Right.
history is brought up. You know, when you start talking about like past racism in America, that's when everybody gets up in arms and starts talking about how it's political propaganda.
Right. They just want you to believe that.
And the horrors of racism is not political.
No.
That's another problem I have. Like the horrors of like true stories of like cops taking black dudes and just beating the shit out of them because they thought they shoot him.
Right.
You know, like just because he's a black guy, like that shit happened.
Right.
And it happens.
And it still happens.
We just have phones with cameras now. That's how we figure it out. You know, but we went on generations doing this shit. And nothing about that is fucking political.
No. And if you would just stop and listen to the black people, they'll tell you this shit's been going on forever.
And that's why every Black History Month, I'm sure people are wondering, like, why don't you program a whole slew of black horror and stuff like that for the. I don't think you want to listen to two white people talk about the black experience in America. That's not, you know, go listen to the other podcasts hosted by black people, right? That you're coming from their mouths. It's a lot more impactful than it is two white people, right? So one movie a month is what we do here, so we can kind of discuss these themes and these subjects. But I think it's I didn't see anything in this movie, any of the commentary on racism and stuff. I didn't see it as too much, you know, like when people, a lot of reviewers that talked about this, they talked about like the racism, like it's too much. Well, how do you tackle a story like this without tackling the subject it's talking about? Right. It's not even an undertone in this movie. You know, it was more of an undertone in that 92 movie. This one, it's all in your face.
But people don't like, they don't like learning about it. They don't like to see that white people in America are bad,
which is crazy because
guess what they are.
Which is crazy because like we're talking about the past. Like are you feeling guilty?
Right. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
it's white guilt.
Like they get fucking guilty about like maybe because they're racist, but it's like, well, stop being fucking racist. Right. Racism is not a political stance. Right. And if being anti-racist is not my political stance. I hate it. I fucking hate it that we live in America today. Is if you're anti-racist, that's your political stance now, which is fucking weird. Yeah. The fact that I don't support Nazis is a political stance. The fact that I don't support book burning is a political stance now, and I can't stand it. No. I don't know. But I think movies like this are great for that. You know, I think they really do. It gets its message across without fucking beating you in the head with it, because it's also a good story. Right. You know, which is how art should tackle these subjects. Yeah, I agree. So Anthony is inspired to make a badass painting of the beating of Sherman, and he tells Bree the story of the Candyman. Anthony is very connected to this and says that he feels like this is what he's been meant to do. Mm-hmm. He then tells her about the saying his name 5 times thing, and he wants to try it. He actually does it, and Bree is very scared. Then we see them like hugging or whatever, and then in the window we see a reflection of the Candyman in the room, and this actually scared the shit out of me because I did not expect it. There is some good scares in this fucking movie. Yeah. I will say, you know, I didn't find it as scary as I probably would have if I was 10 again watching like the Candyman. But I did find there was some parts in this that really get under your fucking skin. And there's no jump scares. No, it does feel like there's a lack of jump scares, which is fine. I don't need any jump scares. Yeah, I don't need any jump scares. Well, because I think too many jump scares would probably cheapen what they're trying to do with this movie. Right. Because they're trying to make it creepy, and it is creepy. Because that's what a good urban legend is. Because you know, at its heart, you know, the Candyman is an urban legend, right? But you know, it's an urban legend, which I love. How I feel like they handled the urban legend aspect of this movie better than the original one did. Yeah. I don't, you know, it felt like that original one. I love that original movie, but I felt that original one had an issue with how to handle its, like I said, how to handle its talk on racism and urban legend.
Right.
You know?
And you know what I like is that Anthony, he hears this story from Tony, and then he goes to do his own research on it. Because he's like, okay, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I want to hear it for myself from different perspectives. I want to go there. I want to research this.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, we get a lot of research in this movie. A lot of it, but it's not annoying, you know?
Right.
It's not like... Well, first of all, you're getting... This is the first Candyman movie that doesn't have a white woman as the fucking protagonist.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, we actually have a black protagonist in our movie about a black urban legend, which is very, very awesome. I like I said, I think it handles that stuff a lot better.
Right.
But like, but the fact that you're getting it from like Anthony's point of view is a lot more refreshing this time around.
Yeah.
Plus, it fixes a problem I had with that original movie that I didn't quite understand about the Candyman legend. And it's not a big problem. Like I said, I still love that movie. It sounds like I'm bad mouthing the original one, but I felt in that original one, it felt off. Like, why is Candyman targeting the black community?
Right, exactly. Like
it always felt weird to me. I thought maybe you had a different reading on that, like maybe explain it a little better, but I've never really read an explanation on that other than, I don't know, he's centralized to that area.
That's what I was thinking, was like he was just predominant in that area, and this movie broadens that.
Yeah, like I said, it's Nia DaCosta and Jordan Peele taking that original story and the original like aspects of the urban legend and just they break it down in this movie.
Yeah,
you know, and then they expand it to some awesome level that when you watch that original movie, that's where you want it to go.
Yeah,
but it doesn't quite get there in that original.
So at this art showing, Anthony's display, it looks like just a mirror, but you see these people walking around with papers, and you can see that it has like the legend of Candyman on it.
Right.
But when you open the mirror, there's his painting about Sherman with the fist, and then there's a couple other paintings in there. And he says that he's trying to basically line the past up with the present. And there's a critic there, and she basically shits on him for being black and an artist. Which
I think she accuses him of, because first of all, she says the "you people," and his face, he's like, "What?" Like, what? And she accuses him of being like this artist capitalize on black atrocities.
Right.
Which is kind of something I saw lobbed at this movie. How they were saying, it's just Hollywood turning the black experience or something into a commodity.
Right.
Which I don't feel like this movie does. But again, that came from a black critic. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to comment on the black experience in America. That's not my place.
Right.
But I felt it kind of weird. I like, honestly, out of all the shit you see in this art gallery, I like his the best.
Yes. It was the best.
You do feel frustrated for Anthony because like you see him put his soul into this shit.
Yeah.
And then everybody shits on it. Like the black guy at the art gallery, he shits on it because he was, this was my reading. He basically is like saying, what are you like, why would you depict that? That kind of stuff.
Right.
And show people. Like, I think that's a commentary on some people not even, even people in the black community, maybe not even wanting to talk about that kind of shit.
Right.
A sense of like being forced to move forward, I think.
Right. And his was so fucking cool. Who would have thought to like put the art behind this mirror and like have a whole, this is a fucking production.
Yeah.
Like they could have done this whole thing with just that.
Right.
But someone has like some clips playing and it's projecting onto the wall, and that's their art. And I'm like, so you just took somebody's fucking movie and you put it on the wall?
I've seen a lot of art exhibits that are like that. Where they take clips and for some reason that's art. I don't know. I don't understand art, you guys.
Yeah, I don't.
I just know his shit looks cool.
Right.
That's cooler. I don't know.
With the black lights and stuff in this little room that he's got all these. Oh, I don't know. It's so cool.
It's very interesting. And you feel like it's thought provoking, but no one else wants to be pushed into that. It's definitely commentary. It's so funny that this movie points out its critics before they fucking even saw this. Right. Because it is, to me, it's a commentary on the fact that people don't want to be faced with this kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to be faced with those horrors and stuff when it's something we really need to fucking start talking more about.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking before we even started this podcast about Black history and stuff like that, and how like we as Americans, and not just Black history, but it's everything. Like the fucking, like we don't even want to talk about the fucking Holocaust anymore.
Right.
Like it's stuff we don't want to learn from our mistakes because it's icky.
But how do you learn from your mistakes if you don't know that? If you don't talk about the mistakes.
Right. And we're a generation now who are learning, you know, because of the technology of today. We're learning about the stuff that the schools refuse to fucking teach us.
Right.
You know, like I told you, I remember sitting in class and, you know, reading the only things they really taught us about the civil rights movement was the fucking the girls that got to go to college and Martin Luther King. And then, somebody shot Martin Luther King, but everybody felt bad about it. So, Black people are cool now. And you know, I'm not even joking, you guys. That was basically Oklahoma school systems.
Well, I barely even learned about Martin Luther King.
And you know, there would be Black kids in my class who would be a little upset during those things and a little uncomfortable. And I'm sitting there kind of like a little white asshole that I am being like, well, you know, see what white people did for y'all? This is great.
Oh my God.
Like, see what white people did? That's what we're fucking taught.
We're programmed to do.
And so a big majority of our fucking country doesn't want to fucking face that shit. And I think that's what this is a commentary on. I mean, it's just me reading the movie. It could be something completely different.
Right. So Anthony ends up getting drunk and he starts a fight with Clive, who is Bree's business partner. And basically, Clive doesn't want Anthony there showing his art.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to talk about the racism and stuff like that. And everybody thinks that he's just there because he's Bree's husband. Right. But he's a good artist.
Yeah, and she sees that.
Right.
What's really crazy is that when it is popularized by the media and stuff like that later on, because there's murders involved, then everybody wants a piece of his art.
Right.
Which is...
And the piece of this piece of art that he has is called "Say My Name,"
which was the original shooting title of this movie when they were filming it.
Oh wow. So later after the show, Clive is pissed that he let Anthony into the art show and says that he is done with Bree. She's done. Well, Clive's girlfriend wants to say Candyman in the mirror. Oh, because they're still at the studio.
Yeah, they're cleaning up.
They're cleaning up, yeah.
Which I love that she keeps fucking quoting Joy Division here. Even he's like, all right, we get it. You like Joy Division. What the fuck?
So she wants to say Candyman in the mirror. And as she's saying it, we see Anthony staring into a mirror at home. And there's a bee that comes up and he pets the bee. Okay, don't do that. That's not good.
You want to pet a bee?
No, I'm good. Then Clive's girlfriend gets her throat slashed as Clive is standing behind her. And I didn't include this in my notes, but she's got this like hook belt thing.
Yeah, she hooks her belt up, but because he's like fucking his interns and stuff, and she's the newest intern and shit. Yeah. And I love that. I love fucking because Anthony hits him with that insult before he leaves the art gallery when he's drunk. Says something like, about it fucking his interns.
And he needs an endless supply of Plan B or something
make sure
like
you
that.
Got the Plan B. She's like, I'm on the NuvaRing.
Right. Well, she clips her belt loop thing to his belt loop. So they're like tied together as she gets her throat slashed. Well, Clive sees Candyman and tries to run away, but he can't escape. So he's trying to get away. He finally gets the belt loop off and he goes to the door. He can't get out the door. It's cool because we can't see Candyman, but Candyman grabs his feet and pulls him. But when he falls, he smashes his face. Oh my God, it hurt.
Oh,
it hurt.
Yeah. It's brutal, man.
Oh, that just hurts. And he drags him across the floor. And we can't see Candyman until we see the mirror.
If you look, though, as you're watching this, he does see him in a mirror across the gallery and stuff when he's slicing that fucking movie screen.
Oh,
and shit.
yeah,
You see him but you see him in reflections through this.
Yeah.
Every time Candyman appears, it's always in a mirror up until the last moment of the film.
Yeah.
But like, and I love that. Like, you can see him coming up from behind Clive in the reflection of the doors and stuff, the glass and shit. You can kind of see him and shit like that. But that's such a more inventive way to approach this killer, our villain in our movie. Because like in the original one, you saw him when he would come, he comes out of the mirror and that's the end of the mirror. Right. But here you can't see him until like you look in the mirror and shit like that. That's scarier to me. That you can't see what's coming at you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he fucking hooks Clive's fucking Achilles tendon.
Oh,
that's how he's. Oh God, a fucking Achilles tendon damage in this fucking movie.
And then the face smash on the ground with all the blood. Oh, like my nose hurts just thinking about it. Ugh. Anyway.
And the way she shoots this, like the way DaCosta plays this out for you, man, it is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many cool angles and shit.
I was going to say, it feels like you're like a spectator.
There is a voyeur quality to it.
There you go, voyeur. Yeah,
there's a voyeur quality to it.
I like that a lot.
Kind of reminds me, we talked about this during De Palma, Blowout. We talked about that, how he shoots with like this voyeuristic kind of quality.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of like that. Because there's a scene later that I'll talk more on, but like there's a scene later where you see somebody killed, but you see it across the street.
Yeah. So the next day, Bree goes to the studio and finds them dead, but we don't see it yet. But we can hear bees in the background. Then we see it on the news, and as Anthony's watching it, and he's pretty excited that they mentioned his piece, Say My Name.
I love that reaction of them because they're just staring at him because he's like, they said, say my name. And they said my name. They're like,
He's like, say my name. They're like, why are you so excited about this? Then we see Bree looking at the bodies and having a flashback of her dad. She's little. I don't know, 6, 7, 8, I don't know. And she goes to talk to her dad, who's an artist, and he's sitting in this window, and he says that he can fly. And he's like, watch me fly. And he jumps out the window to kill himself.
Fuck, that was creepy.
Very creepy.
God, that was a creepy fucking way to kill. Jesus Christ. Like I said, the scares, they feel fresh in this movie. Like they feel different from what we're normally used to.
Yeah.
Like even with movies that are so inventive with the scares like Hereditary and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It feels a different way. I like it when directors and writers really go out of their way to find new ways to frighten us. And I think that's what Candyman does here, But it's also meshing together the classic ways to scare us, like the unseen killer and stuff like that.
Right.
That's not new, but the way she approaches it is quite inventive, I think.
Anthony goes to university and gets a file and a tape recorder that they have filed under Helen Lyle. He listens to the tape, and it's Helen talking about Cabrini Green and how residents were afraid to call police or police wouldn't show up, so they would blame the Candyman for everything. The Candyman did this, whatever. And she says that Candyman is used as a survival tool. And while Anthony is listening to this, he gets on an elevator, and every wall in this elevator is mirrors.
I fucking hate elevators like that.
Yes, it's
I don't know.
very
it
creepy.
Freaks me the fuck out. Mirrors are creepy in general. I don't know if you've ever noticed about me, but I don't keep a lot of mirrors around me. They freak me the fuck out. So I think maybe that's why this movie is a little bit more scarier to me than some people. I don't know. I find mirrors creepy.
It's pretty scary. Well, as he's riding the elevator, it stops and it doesn't work. Then he hears a piece of candy fall on the ground. Well, he picks it up. He gets cut by a razor blade. Then he feels blood dripping from above, and when he looks up, he sees Candyman. But this is creepy as fuck, because when you look up, it's like upside down because it's a mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking creepy. It scared me.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is almost like a jump scare. I didn't think about that
really
one.
Is.
I didn't think about that one. To me, that was a jump scare.
It was pretty. It gets you. Like, Okay, so the way Candyman feels in this movie so far, to me, you're seeing it. You're used to Tony Todd playing this character.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things you got to get over at first. But here's the thing about this, and even before we, like I said, spoilers. He's at the end, but even before that, you get the feeling that this is just like a version of Candyman. This is just like what he's embodying at the moment,
right?
Which is a new way of approaching the story.
Right.
We haven't had, the only Candyman we've had is Daniel Robitaille, who, as we find out, is the first iteration of Candyman, but he's the original. And he embodies all these other tragic figures,
right,
and stuff, like takes them on, which is I like that a lot. It lends to the way the urban legend could survive.
Right. And we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail about that. So Anthony goes to talk to the critic, and she says she is now writing a bigger article that surrounds the art and the murders. And she wants some quotes from him. Well, Anthony tells her to really engage with the work. She should say his name 5 times. Candyman.
Yeah.
So she goes to the bathroom, and he's a little snarky. He's like, better now than never, or whatever. He doesn't say it like that because that's a white person thing, but
he puts it more eloquently than that.
Well, she's gone for a long time. So Anthony goes to find her, and he ends up seeing Candyman in a mirror. But he is Candyman because the person in the mirror is making the same movements that he's making.
Right.
But so he is Candyman.
Yeah, this is another cool ass it's scary.
Yeah.
Like where he sees himself in the mirror as Candyman.
Yeah. Yeah. So he leaves in a hurry because he's freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get this pan out shot of the apartment building. And we see like 3 levels of this apartment building, but from across the street, like you said. And we see the critic get attacked.
Yeah.
But we can't see what.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of sound or anything like that. You just see her get like sliced and thrown against the fucking window and shit. Like it's fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not expecting it.
Right.
With the way this is shot, you're not expecting to see a kill.
And honestly, I had to watch it 3 or 4 times to really see where I needed to focus. But once I saw it, well, I watched it a few more times because I wanted to see it happen again. But
right.
But I did have to watch it twice to see where I needed to focus.
Yeah, it's a very awesome way to do that because normally like a kill like that, we'd just be in the apartment,
Right.
We'd have the build up. She'd start hearing spooky noises and shit like that. And then, she'd get got. But,
right.
But this, like I said, it's more of that voyeuristic kind of look, as we look from across the way,
right.
at her apartment window.
Oh, I love it. It's a good way to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love these voyeuristic. I like the way you said that. Or put that shots and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's just the way that DaCosta approaches things because she kind of did this with Little Woods and stuff like that and a few other projects. She's moving on to bigger and better things. She's going to be directing for Marvel pretty soon.
That's fine. Good for her. But
if it looks like a Nia DaCosta project is the thing, Marvel is known for doing cookie cutter movies. So we'll see when that movie comes out. But I've noticed this about her. She goes for different kind of unexpected views,
right.
Which this is, like I said, it's a very unexpected way to film a killing, which across the way like that with no sound, you're not really there with them and stuff like that.
Which is creepy. But you can't see the killer, so that's even creepier.
Yeah, because you're almost getting a kill during a transition shot.
Right. Like if I wouldn't have no, actually you pointed it out. I didn't even know that happened the first time I watched it. I didn't know which look.
I will say this is a movie I wish I had seen in theaters.
Oh yeah.
Like it is definitely a movie I wish I'd seen on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
I've got to fucking learn from my mistakes about not just listening to people and not going to see a movie.
Just do it.
I have to
because you have a different view than everybody.
It's true. Yeah. And you kind of forget that when you get on Twitter and everybody's trashing a movie because then you're like, well, if it's maybe I won't shell out the money to go see it. I've got to fucking learn from my mistakes from that, people, because that is ridiculous.
Yeah. So Bree and Anthony are at dinner with some fancy art people. One of them being an art museum owner, and Bree wants to get in good with her so she could do art shows with her at the museum. Right. And they read an article or a headline that this critic was found dead. Well, Anthony gets up and runs out. He's like, oh, fuck. So Anthony goes to talk to William, and he tells William tells Anthony about other Candymen. He doesn't really say it like that, but that's the best way I could describe it, whatever. But he says the first one began in the 1890s with Daniel
Robitaille.
I was like, I don't know how to say that.
Who we all know as the, from the original movie, Tony Todd's Candyman, which I love. I love how William puts it here. Candyman's not a singular thing. It's a whole damn hive.
Right.
Which is, again, it's a very interesting addition to this fucking legend. That it's like a collective.
So Daniel Robitaille was an artist who was mutilated and lynched for having an interracial affair with his client's daughter, and he got her pregnant. Mm-hmm. Then William goes on to say that stories like this of black men being killed are bees, and they're being added to the hive that makes Candyman, as you had talked about. Mm-hmm. He says Candyman is how they deal with what happened and what is still happening in the world of these black men being killed wrongly and being added to the hive, which makes Candyman. So Candyman is not a singular person. He is a being of all, or he's a representation of all of these
He's
people.
like a force that takes up all these tragic people. And what's really nice is what the original concept was for Candyman. He's supposed to be like the black Freddy Krueger or something like that, the black horror icon and stuff like that, which I think that original movie where he's killing black people, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
This does, because he's the embodiment of those tragic things that happen. And it's just like I said, it's like those pasts collecting together, and it's like a tear that just ripples through, and fucking there's a reaction now.
Right. And Candyman's almost the hero for these people.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
Yeah.
Like getting revenge.
In a way,
kind of.
Yeah.
And it's a way for people to remember all of these people.
Right. It's an urban legend, but at the same time, it's also, well, like we talked about during our urban legend stuff, like fucking, it's what we use to fucking, it's what we use to kind of come to grips with real things.
Right. Right.
There's urban legends for everything, but they're also, the best ones are steeped in a reality.
Right.
Just a little bit of reality to them.
So Bree ends up seeing Anthony's paintings of the Candyman that he's like frantically doing throughout the movie and stuff. We see just little clips of it.
Yeah, because I think he's done each one.
Yeah.
Because, so I think a lot of people kind of took that literal as there are like multiple Candymans, but there is one Candyman, but he takes on multiple multiple forms. Like that's what I love about it, is because Candyman is not a singular thing.
Right.
Like if they wanted to make a sequel to this, it could be a different actors than Tony Todd, and it'd be perfectly acceptable.
Right. So he freaks out that she's seeing these, and he doesn't want her to look at them. And he says that he thinks he brought Candyman back. She says that Candyman isn't real, and starts to say his name in a mirror. So Anthony breaks this mirror, and this freaks her out. So she goes to stay with Tony and Grady. No, not Tony.
Troy.
I know, sorry. So she goes to stay with Troy and Grady. And Troy is pissed.
I love it because he's like, if I came in here, if Grady came in here breaking mirrors, mirrors, which I love. I love how gay, because I'm trying to talk about this without rehashing what we already talked about in our original Candyman episode.
Yeah.
But the way this urban legend would survive is by having someone fucking tell it over and over again.
Right.
And people have stopped talking about it.
They broke the pact.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll get to that. So then Troy brings up that their mom wants to get rid of their dad's art, and Bree doesn't want any of it. She says she doesn't want to sell anything that killed him. She
Right.
doesn't want to profit off of that.
Yeah.
And he tells her she doesn't have to be there every time a tortured artist has a psychotic break. And this really hit her. Like, she's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't have to take care of these
Tortured artists.
tortured
and
artists,
stuff.
right? Which is hard for her because art is her life. She loves art,
Yeah,
obviously.
it's very interesting. Her character is very interesting. Like I find all the characters except for maybe Troy and Grady. Not saying they're not interesting, but they don't get a lot.
They don't get a lot of runtime.
Which
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have a lot of characters in this movie. You don't need to fucking. Everybody doesn't have to have a fucking character arc.
Right.
I hate it when people assume that, like with movies. Like where they're like, well, why didn't they flesh that? You don't have to flesh out every single fucking character.
No.
That's not how life works anyway. But so I'm not complaining about that. But I do find her character much more interesting than what we've gotten in this franchise so far.
Oh, yeah. She's tortured herself.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing her dad kill himself and then seeing these people that were murdered in front of her husband's fucking artwork, like, that's just crazy.
Yeah. And it's it's kind of a testament to how Jordan Peele writes characters. I like how he writes these emotional characters and stuff like that. And how like, a lot of his movies is about like racism and stuff like that. There's a lot of undertones and stuff, but I like how he treats it, how stuff that happens, especially this movie, it's all about stuff happening in the past that affects you now. And I like how he handles that, you know, how he writes his characters with that stuff in them embedded.
Oh, yeah. So now we're at a high school with a girl that went to the art show and learned about the Candyman. She tells her friends and they say the name in the mirror. And as they're doing it, a girl walks into the bathroom and goes into the stall. They kind of tease her because they seem like the bullies, like the popular kids being a bully. And she puts her headphones in, the little girl in the stall. Then when they go to leave, the door won't open. One of the girls goes around the stalls to get her vape, which is so funny to me because everybody fucking vapes. But she disappears, and then we see this blood flowing, and then we see the attack from the girl in the stall's point of view. She has headphones in, so she can't really hear what's going on.
Oh man!
But she sees blood and these girls crawling around, and then because a compact opens, mirror compact, and there's a bee. And the girls are trying to get away from something, and then we see Candyman in the mirror.
It's really fucking cool the way she does this here too, because like it's fucking brutal, but we don't see it.
Right.
Like, but you feel the brutality of how these kills are going down, man, which is, it's again, like I know some people would complain about, well, why didn't they show anything? Well, that's not what this movie is. It's not a gratuitous, violent horror film.
It's not a slasher movie.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not. I know a lot of people could make the argument where it is. I understand that, but it's the very nature of the killer isn't even a slasher.
Right.
You know, I don't feel like this is a slasher movie at all.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's much more deeper than that. It's more of, well, if you want to go at it, it's more of an urban legend movie, but it's also like a ghost. More of a ghost story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the urban legend.
Yeah. I'm trying to grasp onto any kind of genre for
I'm going to say urban legend. It's this urban legend killer.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Plain and simple.
Yeah. But I love the camera work during this, especially like with the compact mirror.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point that I wanted to talk about. Okay. And that's about the inconsistencies of Candyman's victims.
Okay. So when we were watching this, I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't die. And you were like, she's not going to die. She didn't say Candyman in the mirror. And I was like, okay, but who says that Candyman can't kill somebody just because they didn't say Candyman? And I thought about this a little bit earlier when we were talking, but I wanted to bring it up at this part too. He killed Clive. Clive never said that. Clive didn't say Candyman in the mirror. Neither
now. Oh, go ahead.
Neither did this girl. And I thought he was going to kill this girl too. He didn't, that we know of. But who's to say that he can't kill whoever he wants to?
Well, because, and in the original one, he killed just whoever.
Right.
Was fucking in the room, it seemed. Right. Which is, it's odd. You were right to bring that up. I feel like this movie does correct that, though. There is a course correction at the end of this movie. Oh, and I'll explain it. Oh, yeah. Because, because, like I said, I always had an issue. There was always that one little thing that I had a problem with that first movie was the inconsistencies of why he's killing who he's killing. They never quite explained that at all.
Until the end of this movie.
Until the end of this, where they explain because the urban legends is shaped by a bunch of people. It's all shaped by whatever you say it is, basically. Right. And William really explains that. And I feel like this movie definitely fucking course corrected the problems of that original film. Mirrors, dude, again, on my fucking fear of mirrors. I never really thought about this until now, but I was like, I do find mirrors fucking horrifying. Like, if you notice, there's no mirrored objects in our room right now. Right. I don't surround a lot of people love putting mirrors on their wall because it makes the room bigger. I'm like, there's a fucking ghost in that shit. I don't need that. You get that. The mirrors are in the bathroom only. We don't have a full length mirror anywhere. No. We don't have a mirrored ceiling just in case I'm having sex with you and I look up, there's a fucking Candyman or something. I don't need that bullshit.
Ooh, we do not have any mirrors in our house.
No, I don't need a menage a trois with the Candyman. Although I don't know, Tony Todd is a handsome man.
Oh my god.
My god.
Anyway, so the next day, Anthony wakes up. When, like I talked about in the beginning of the movie, when he goes to Cabrini, he gets stung by a bee in the hand. But this just keeps getting worse. The infection or whatever's going on is going up into his arm, his shoulder, and into his face. And he's just all fucked up. It looks like he got burned, but really it's like an infection thing.
Yeah, it's ooh.
Then Bree meets up with the owner of the art museum, and she talks about Anthony's work and how she wants to show Bree and Anthony. She wants to do a show with them. Sorry. And I think Bree's a little upset about this because she wanted to work with this museum owner before she saw Anthony's work. And the only reason she even really saw Anthony's work was because of the murders that happened.
Right.
And I think Bree's a little upset because she's like, no, I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to meet her. Why is he the star of this?
Yeah, she does get a little upset about that because it's his work. And what's really crazy is there's also a commentary on the fact that no one pays attention to these kind of murders until white people die.
Right.
Like the two art people, Clive and his bimbo, they get murdered. Now, all of a sudden we're paying attention to what Anthony's doing, which is crazy because that's the thing. Nobody pays in. It's a big commentary on they talk about this in True Crime as the Less Dead, the black community and stuff. When people die there, nobody fucking blinks a goddamn eye.
Right.
But as soon as a white person dies, everybody's all over.
Right. And I mean, they kind of show this in the first movie, and they do, but and then the beginning of this, the Candyman, Sherman, he only gets investigated because a white girl died. But what about all the kids and people that died at Cabrini Green when they called?
Right.
They called and they called and they called and they're like, there's murder happening here, and nobody fucking cares until the white person dies.
Right. And then the Candyman gets brought up. You invent an urban legend to maybe get people to talk about this stuff.
Right.
And, because, I mean, that's kind of what urban legends are really kind of for, was to kind of get messages out and to kind of spook people about certain things, like oh, the urban legend about the hook on your doorknob. That's like a fucking whole thing about teenage sex.
Right.
You know, premarital sex. It's what that whole fucking urban legend is based off of. You know, don't go fuck your girlfriend up on Lover's Point or the hook man will get you.
Right.
So like definitely the Candyman is that, you know, he's a way for them to get the message out about these things to maybe make people pay attention.
Right.
You know.
And I don't know that it's actually good because people don't believe them.
Yeah.
They don't believe that this is actually real. And that's what I like about this movie is that they're bringing the reality to it.
Which is kind of like, you know, in that original movie with Helen, you know, we talked about that, how she's kind of like she's definitely a take on the white savior motif of movies and stuff like that. She definitely embodied that. And here, like, you definitely get the point, you know, you start thinking about that original movie and how she was numb to all the stuff that was happening around her.
Yeah.
It was just a project until she actually, what she was looking for came true.
Right.
You know, then she started taking notice.
So Anthony goes to the hospital for his sting and he finds out that his mother lied to him about where he was born. Okay, first of all,
okay,
let me go into this for a second.
Okay, go.
What kind of fucking doctor comes in and says, "Welcome back"? And he's like, "What? I've never been here." And she's like, "You were born here."
Yeah, I've been to St. Francis many times and no one's been like, "Hey, well, welcome back. Welcome back. You came out of your mom's hoo-ha here at the fucking hospital."
Like,
awesome.
What? So that was a little weird.
Yeah, that's really odd.
So he goes to see his mother and find out the truth.
And this is Vanessa Williams, who was in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, and you're about to tell what we find out here. But again, how is this fucking a remake?
Right.
They didn't watch the fucking movie. Right. They couldn't have watched the movie. The same could be said about the people who were like, "Oh, this is all political parties." Did you not see that first movie?
Right.
Like,
oh,
I think people who were saying those kind of things didn't watch the original and didn't watch this.
Yeah, I agree. So he starts talking about Candyman, and his mom says, like, "No, we don't talk about that. We don't say his name around here." And he wants the truth from her. She says that she lied to protect him. She tells him that he was the baby that got taken, and says it wasn't Helen that took him, though, it was Candyman, and that Helen pulled him out of the fire, and they thought Helen had ended the Candyman legend. But someone has broke the pact by saying Candyman.
Which I think it fixes a lot of what happens in this movie. I feel like fixes a little bit of my problems with that original one. Like I said about the whole inconsistency with the victims and stuff like that. Because like I was a little confused of why if that was their legend that they invented, why is it that like they're celebrating him being gone and shit like that? You know, at the end of that movie, that's what you see. You see them march out to Helen's grave and they lay the hook on her grave and stuff like that. And that's how that original movie kind of ends until the sequel set up ending. But like, so what I feel like it kind of helps with is the fact that like, it does explain like whoever makes, you know, how the urban legend gets talked about is how it's going to react and stuff. Like,
right.
Like you could say it because in that original movie, you know, you see a large majority of how she finds out about the legend is from that, you know, that astute like white professor.
Oh yeah.
You know, you find out through there. So maybe it's because it did get to what I'm tiptoeing around this. It gets to white people and then they turn it into their, you know, we turn it into our own thing.
Right.
Because I think I mentioned this on our episode of that 92 movie, but like how like, you know, white culture, we don't have our own culture. We steal from other people.
Yeah.
You know, we've stolen largely from the black community. And stuff like that. A lot of what we have is stolen from them. And so maybe that's a commentary on that, you know.
Maybe so.
Because it even makes Williams' character, spoiler, he turns out to be, you know, not good. But it even makes his character kind of sympathetic in a way, you know, because he's trying to take back what was originally theirs. You know, that's their tragedies.
Right.
You know.
And I was thinking, let me wait till that part.
Okay.
So Bree goes to the laundromat to try to find Anthony. William ends up kidnapping her and taking her to a church. He has Anthony, and Anthony is looking all fucked up now.
Man, the makeup effects on this is nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is all like infected up on one side of his body. You know, he's got his eyeball all fucked up. And like he's got like holes in his skin that's starting to look like a hive almost.
Yeah.
You know, on his arm and shit. Ugh. And
it looks painful.
By the way, Domingo, who plays William here, man, he fucking is giving it his all in this fucking scene.
Oh, yeah.
I love his performance here.
It's very
almost he hams it up a little bit here, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, because we haven't, like I said, a lot of this movie hasn't been hokey and stuff like that. But like here, he's not quite over the top, but he's getting there.
Right.
With his performance.
He's mad.
Yeah, he's fucking snidely whiplash in here, which is fucking hilarious. But also at the same time, he's fucking scary.
Yeah.
So now you're not only scared of the fucking urban legend, the Candyman, you're scared of this motherfucker.
Right. And Anthony, he not only looks fucked up, but he's like in a different headspace.
Yeah.
He's very much like fucked in the brain. So William says that they need Candyman because Cabrini Green got stuck in a loop and he needs to take back his legend.
Like I said, it's so weird to watch this movie not even post. I think those fucking protests should still be going on, but to me, it's just me. But like, I feel it's so weird to watch this after, you know, the Black Lives Matter protests and stuff blew up. It's so weird how closely this fits that, you know, the explanation. Cause right here, you see the desperateness of just trying to fucking escape what has been done.
Right.
And stuff, and trying to move forward and trying to be treated as a fucking human being, that people go as far as creating a fucking boogeyman.
Right. To be listened to.
Yeah.
So he then cuts off Anthony's hand and replaces it with a hook.
The hand cutting scene wasn't the worst. It's the shoving the hook into the fucking arm.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh. And Anthony, he's in this fugue state, so he doesn't even really know what's happening.
Which I love that it's supposed to be the original hook from the first movie.
Yes, because he says something about we need to stick with the facts here.
Yeah, which
of Candyman. Oh, because he like puts that.
Yeah, he puts the coat on and all sorts of stuff. And what I love about it, like I said, there's a course correction here because he does say, you know, you can make it anything you want.
Right.
But you know, but he makes it to where he's going to be killing their people.
Right.
You know, which is, you know, the white people.
Right.
Which is, I always felt like that's how that legend should go. But I think, like I said, I think that first movie was trying to be a little careful with that.
Right. William had called the police beforehand, and he says that he's going to sacrifice Anthony to them for Candyman, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Bree ends up escaping, and William chases her and finds her, but she stabs him in the head, like in the temple.
God, with this piece of glass.
Yes.
Because I love that, because Anthony walks in and he's like, I think he's dead. Like even how fucked up he is, he's like, whoa.
Yes, because when he falls over, she just keeps fucking stabbing the fuck out of him. Then Anthony shows up and he just collapses on her. Well, the police show up and don't even ask questions and just start fucking shooting.
Yeah, they blow him away.
And then all we're seeing is Bree realizing that this is happening and she has blood on her hands and that Anthony is dead.
Yeah.
It's all like kind of slow motion.
And it's so like this scene, the way she depicts it and stuff. And then a lot of it's played through shadows. You know, you see the shadow of the cop.
Right.
You don't necessarily see him shooting. It's
because you're zoomed in on her.
Yeah.
It's very impactful.
Like I said, we haven't said as much as just how, well, no, we've said it a lot, but it's just this movie's gorgeous.
Yes.
It's just so like well done. I don't understand. People say to this.
I know, I don't either.
Yeah.
So then the police handcuff her and put her in the back of a car. The officer says that they were looking for Anthony, and she doesn't say anything when he's asking her questions. And the officer says anything she says will help them. But he says since they saw the hook, they had to kill him to protect her. Then he says, or that she is an accomplice and she held the victim down and he cut them up. So the victim being William, because William's there too. He's dead.
Which is obviously what I like about this movie is it's not hiding its commentary on this kind of shit.
Right.
You know, it's right out in the open, which makes it a lot easier to discuss. You know, we're not talking about like metaphors that they're doing to allude to things. It's like, no, a fucking cop shot this dude right off the fucking bat. This cop is trying to cover for it all. And so they're creating a story and they're threatening her.
Yeah, and he's like, which way do you want the story to go? Because now he's saying that she's an accomplice. She held the victim down and Anthony cut them up. And then he died because he came at the cops.
Right.
He wants to know which story does she want to go with. And she says that if she can see herself in the mirror, that she will tell him everything that he wants.
Yeah. Which whoa. But like, so again, like I don't take this as propaganda because we have stories. We have real stories about stuff like this happening. I don't understand how people are so blind to it all still.
Because they want to be. They are not accepting of.
Because like I said, you know, Candyman could embody exactly what we're talking about, racial violence. You know, stuff that people just refuse to believe in.
Right.
Like you said, you know, even though people aren't believing the Candyman legend, that's definitely how they treat that's definitely how they treat these things.
Right.
They treat it like it's a fantasy, a boogeyman story. Like, oh, that shit don't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. The kind of shit, you know?
That's just a tale. Why are you talking about that?
Yeah. That's, no.
No. So she ends up saying Candyman 5 times in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Then Anthony shows up and he kills all the cops on the outside of his car. Yeah,
which is cool because when he's going around the car, you know, you see his reflection is all the different people.
Yes. And the bees and stuff.
Yeah. Which, you know, by the way, you know, speaking of mirrors again, why is nothing ever good come from a mirror?
I don't.
You know, you don't like. Why is it never anything like silly? You know, like if I say, you know, Larry the Cable Guy 5 times in the mirror, is it gonna appear?
No.
Hey, cool. I'm in your bathroom.
Oh my god, that'd be kind of scary though. I don't want him telling me pygmy jokes in the fucking bathroom.
That'd be weird, man. Be my victim. Now that's a fucking horror story. Could you imagine walking through, like in that first movie, walking through the fucking parking garage and Larry the Cable Guy's across the way? It was you. It was always you.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Hey, cool.
Anyway.
I'm hooking you.
So William walks around the car and he says, I am the writing on the walls.
Now I'm hearing that in fucking Larry the Cable Guy's voice and I'm fucked up. I'm sorry.
I'm going to start this over because you ruined it. But he says, I am the writing on the walls. I am the sweet smell of blood on the street. The buzz that echoes in the alleyways. Then the officer gets out of the car and runs off because he's scared because he's a little pussy bitch. Anyway, well, Bree gets out of the car and follows where he goes and sees Anthony killing the officer. The officer dies, and then Anthony's face is just bees, like surrounded by bees. And they kind of like pick him up and make him float over to her.
Right.
And the bees end up clearing up a bit, and we see Tony Todd.
Yeah.
And he says, tell everyone.
Which is great. There was more to that quote where he's talking about, you know, people will say you're far from innocent, but people will say you are, and that's all that matters. It's like that's definitely to me that felt like the whole thing where it's like no one is going to pay attention until white people die.
Right.
You know.
So I kind of interpreted this as because we're talking about the picking and the choosing of the killings. I think he was only killing bad people.
In this movie?
Yeah. Because
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, the
go
girls in the bathroom, I had said that they were bullies.
Well, they were bullying the black girl too.
Right. So he didn't kill the black girl. And it's not because the black girl didn't say that. It's because the black girl was the innocent black girl. She was just an innocent person.
Yeah.
The other people were bullies. They were mean.
Okay.
He killed the police officers because the police officers killed him, and he didn't deserve to die. And they were bad people. He killed the bad people. He killed Clive and his girlfriend. Bad people. He killed that critic. Bad person. Racist.
Oh yeah, man.
Yes.
It is like this movie does feel like it is black people are reclaiming the Candyman for themselves finally.
Yes.
That's what I really liked about this movie. Is because that first movie, as great as it is, it does feel very much like a Caucasian story. You know, it just it doesn't feel like I've always felt like that one doesn't go as far as it could with its commentary. It goes there, but it doesn't go to places like this one does.
Right.
You know, where and on top of that, like you are right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't catch that.
I did not catch that.
And I started to catch it when I was writing my notes. And then as we were talking about it, I was like, no, Candyman's killing people that almost deserve to die. I don't think those kids deserve to die.
Well, I don't think anybody deserves to die, but that's not the point.
Right.
Yeah. but that's the thing, you know, like I love how this movie took that legend and did this way.
Oh yeah.
You know, it really takes I just feel like it's such a great sequel because that's what a sequel should do. It should expand on the original. Yeah. It should make it better. And I feel like this movie made it better. I do too. I mean, nothing's ever going to come close to the original movie. You know, nothing's ever going to be Tony Todd, which I think, you know, would I have liked to see Tony Todd throughout this movie? Yes. Oh, yeah. But I feel like that would be fan service to me. Right. I don't feel like this movie has given me fan service at all. I didn't think so. And as much as I'd like to see Tony Todd throughout this, I didn't need it. It didn't take away from the good story that it is. No, because I mean, at the very end, that little scene, which by the way it gives you goosebumps, man, when his face appears. You're like, oh shit. Like it really ties it all fucking together. Right. Because like, and it really leaves some open questions. Like, is Daniel Robitaille, because like he said, he's the one that started it all and he's the original. Is Daniel Robitaille doing this the entire time? Oh, maybe. You know, just like I said, inhabiting these other tragic people and stuff. Like, is it him the entire time? You know, but like I said, you know, or like William said, you know, it's a whole hive. Like it's just a collective of all this tragedy. Right. It's all of them. You know, it's tragedy. It's this racial tragedy and these horrors of the past and stuff, all consumed into one being. Right. You know, which is much better than, it's a much better aspect than the love story we got in the first one. Yes. The first one, just like I said, it was very much kind of a love story, which is funny because this episode's coming out on Valentine's Day. but I like that it paid more attention to the legend itself, you know. Yeah. And it went further with the racial commentary than the original one did. Yes, and I like movies that do that. You push up. It makes you push me to think more. Yeah, because I feel like, you know, as much as some people would say this is all just propaganda. I don't think people know the meaning of the word propaganda anymore. Right. But I feel like people who didn't like this, I don't know. I don't understand. I understand not liking this movie because you just didn't like it. Right. You know, like a lot of people have told me, you know, well, I just didn't care for the first one and I just didn't care for this. It's like, cool, man, that's a valid reason. But to sit there and say it's because it's too politically charged is a little bit of bullshit. Racism is not politically charged. No, it's not a political stance, which, like I said, you know, just that part at the end, like with Tony Todd popping out. Yes. Tell everyone. That's fucking cool, man. Oh, yeah. That is a way to fucking end your movie. And it kind of leaves itself open for sequels, but also if there's never another Candyman movie, I'm totally fine with going out on this. Oh, I'm totally fine. It is a perfect sequel.
I agree.
Like I would, like I said, nothing's ever going to come close to that first one. So I won't say it topped it, but it is damn close.
Yeah.
I liked it just as much as I liked the original, but I like this one for different reasons. Now Candyman was scheduled to originally be released back in June of 2020.
Oh, damn.
But of course the pandemic hit and, doorknob lickers and the boot heel kissers all fucking got together and pushed this to September 2020, where it was once again pushed to October 2020, where it was once a fucking again pushed to August 17th, 2021. Then it came out on Blu-ray and everything in November. As of November 2021, it grossed around 77 million worldwide.
Wow.
Which catapulted it to number 1 on its opening weekend, taking out the horrendously bad Free Guy movie with Ryan Reynolds. I guys, I watched that movie and I don't understand why that was a number 1 movie for a while.
Because it had Ryan Reynolds in it.
That movie's god awful.
I don't know. I never.
It's
heard
a
of it.
terrible fucking movie. It's like, I don't know. It's like Tron for 4-year-olds, but it's fucking awful. I hate
God.
it. Good Lord, that movie's bad. But by doing so, this made DaCosta the first African-American female director to hold a number 1 spot on an opening weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this kind of broke a record that nobody fucking talked about. I feel like, we kind of talked about this, and this movie did get a lot of praise, but it also got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
For weird reasons that I can't quite pinpoint why. Like I said, the only things I could come up with was people hated it. The people that hated it was because the racial stuff, which
right.
You can't tell the story without it being racially charged. But I couldn't quite pinpoint it, except for I feel, and this is my feelings, I feel like every time a female director releases a movie, people are a lot harder on it than they would be a male.
Oh yeah, you've said that before too.
Yeah, like I feel like if Jordan Peele directed this movie, because he didn't, that was a big problem because people were calling it Jordan Peele's Candyman.
Right.
Which, yes, he wrote it and he produced it and everything, but DaCosta directed it.
Right.
He was originally supposed to direct it, but luckily, I don't know. I would have hated it if we got more of why Williams doing it other than he's trying to reclaim an urban legend.
Right.
Like, that's all the reasoning I needed. I didn't need I don't need a white person pushing the black person to do something.
Right.
That's not what you need. That sounds fucking stupid. But I do feel like people are a lot harder on female directors.
Right. You've said that a lot of times.
Yeah. I actually watched this movie, unlike everyone else who still calls it a remake. And to me, like I said, it's one of the best sequels to a classic horror movie I've ever seen. And that like I said, that includes Halloween Kills, even though that movie delivered everything I wanted. This movie was just such a good fucking continuance of, the Candyman, which is such a compelling villain. But it seems like, those sequels never quite went anywhere.
Right.
With the character. And this movie really does some justice here. And I just found it fucking mesmerizing. And the care that DaCosta and Peele show to the subject matter, it also helps, It makes it more than just a slasher movie. To me, this it's a study of what past racial violence, et cetera, can do to tear a hole and leave a lasting, scars that people have to deal with even after all the decay is stripped and painted over, even after Cabrini Green is gone, and all the expensive buildings and shit are all put up. It's a history you can't escape.
Right.
It's history that will consume us no matter how hard we want to look away. Even today you see these people burning books and shit, and basically it's so weird how blatantly people are trying to silence the past, but it doesn't fucking work.
Right.
It explodes. It creates such a fucking tension that the shit like comes out, not in a supernatural urban legend like the Candyman, but it comes out in ways. It comes out in violent ways.
Yes.
You see time and time again that people try to like suppress history and stuff that had to do with America's fucking bloody ass past.
Because nobody wants to talk about the mistakes that white people have made.
I stick by this, and you guys can disagree with me. You're very welcome to do that. That's fine, But I stick by that America was founded on blood and other people's fucking bodies. I mean, that's how America was formed.
Ask the Indians.
America was kind of created by white people coming over and stealing everything.
Yes.
That's kind of what happened. Actually, no, that is what happened.
I was about to say, I don't know what you're saying.
That is what fucking happened. Like, that's our country is not fucking the warm and fuzzies.
No.
It's not, black people just ended up here.
No.
That's how people would want you to think. Black people migrated.
No.
No, you fucking, the best thing you could fucking do. And, maybe we didn't go as far into our talks since this is a Black History Month episode,
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't go as far as we could. But again, it's not.
It's hard to say what's
I'm
our
not going to
place.
say I'm not going to say it's not our place, because I think everybody should be talking about this shit.
Right.
Like, I think it's definitely important for everyone to talk about it. But I will say it's more an issue with everybody not listening to the people it actually happened to.
Right.
You hear a lot of these people talk about black people commenting on their past and stuff like that, and how they're suppressed and how they're fucking put down. And you hear people say, well, my ancestors, I don't know, your ancestor, that was the past. That happened a long time ago. It's still happening, though.
Right.
That's the problem. That's the problem you're refusing to fucking see, is that we haven't learned from our past mistakes. And we continue to not learn from that.
And we're not learning from it because we're not talking about it. We're not listening to people that are trying to talk about it.
It's a weird fucking country we live in, to where, and I never lived in any other country, so it might be the same everywhere else, but it's a weird fucking thing.
Yeah.
To really realize that, like, wow, they do, like, higher up and people in charge do not want you to fucking talk about this shit.
No.
They want America to seem like this fucking warm and fuzzy fucking country. That racism in America? No. Yeah, they want you to not believe that.
And then if you talk about racism, then, like, okay, no, if black people talk about racism, then these white racists are like, that's reverse racism.
There is no such thing as reverse racism. There's just racism.
Right.
There's no reversing racism would be not racism. That would mean not being racist.
Oh, I hate people.
But that's a problem, So start talking about this shit. And hey, here's a novel fucking idea. How about listening to our black friends and our black people in our community and these people? Listen
to them and learn from them.
I think the
research.
time of white people having input is kind of over. We don't need to hear from the white guy in the back. We don't need it anymore. Just like with gay rights and stuff like that, we're done listening to the straight hetero cis dude in the back of the audience. We don't need that anymore. We don't need your input. It's time to start listening and talking about all this stuff.
Right.
But anyway, but yeah, to me, this movie's fucking awesome. This is one I think out of all the ones that we're going to talk about this month, I think this is my top.
Oh yeah.
It's such an impactful movie. And also if you want to go into this, it forces the crazy thing about this. If you're trying to go into this as just, well, I just want to watch a slasher or something like that, you're going to be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Because the stuff we've been talking about, this movie forces you to look at.
Yeah, you have to.
That's what I like about it.
It puts it in your face.
Yeah, which is how it should be. Like I said, it's a history we can never escape, and it'll consume us no matter how hard we try to look away, because it's always in the mirror.
I like that.
Yeah. So enough about me. What did you think about Candyman from 2021?
I really liked it. I liked that it was less metaphorical and right there. It's in your face. You have to face it. You have to Well, I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to watch the movie, but when you do watch the movie, you do have to face it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they expanded on that original movie. I'm so glad this is not a remake.
Yeah, I like to see, from what disappointed me from those sequels. I know you haven't seen them, but what disappointed me with the sequels is it was like, okay, we're done. We're done exploring this character. We're done exploring it, like what's behind this, the soul behind this fucking character. They injected a soul into this fucking movie, into the story. It feels so much more explored and like it's almost world building in a way,
I like that they took Anthony's character and he was interested in something and he did the research for himself, like I talked about earlier in the episode. Like he did the research. He wanted to know more about it and he took it upon himself to do that. Why don't more people do that?
That's a good fucking question.
Like, if you want to know about something, go fucking explore it, especially if it's down the road from your fucking house.
Which is crazy, like that's also a commentary on like how even, well, I can use this, like white people, we don't even know our true past.
Right.
Like a majority of us don't fucking know our past. We just know this fucking concocted story.
Right. Do the research. Anyway, I love this movie. I thought it was shot beautifully. The acting was phenomenal. And I don't know if there really was a score because, I don't listen to that shit.
It's there. It's really good.
But I like the use of no sound. Or almost no sound.
Yeah, there is several times where there's like barely any sound in this.
Yes.
Well, not sound, no score.
Score, right. When the girl has her headphones on in the stall, she can barely hear the screams that are going on because she's got the headphones in, and you can hear her music, but none of that is loud and overwhelming. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I loved it all.
Well, the score was performed by Robert A. Lowe, who this score was in the short list for best movie film scores for the 2022 Oscars.
That's awesome.
So this almost got there, but it doesn't quite, because horror is still the gutter genre. But But I think this movie definitely does prove that horror can be. It's definitely a genre that can make you think.
Right.
It's such a fucking moldable genre that you can create something that talks about racism and stuff like that and really has an impact on somebody who could watch this if you're fucking perceptive to those kind of things.
Right.
If you go into this, I don't think your Uncle Jimbo's going to like Candyman. Like, so if you go into this without an open mind, you're going to be fucking highly disappointed. You're probably going to be angry.
Don't watch it unless you're ready to talk about it.
Which I think is great. I think this movie is one of those movies that can very much open conversation, open doors to conversation. And that's what I love. That's art.
Right.
That's art to me. When something makes you have a conversation about whatever, a deep conversations can be had by watching this movie. And I think that's what makes it up there, up there on my list.
It's amazing. I like it a lot.
Man, I'm excited to see what else Nia DaCosta does, man. And Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's got Nope coming out pretty soon.
Nope.
Who the fuck knows what that movie is about? All I've seen of it is just a poster with a cloud with a kite tail. I think is what I saw. I'm like, what the fuck is the Nope?
Nope.
Is it a Nope rope? What's happening? I don't know, man. It seems very interesting. All his movies have been super fucking interesting. And they all do that thing where it makes me think and it opens up conversation.
It makes me want to watch more of his movies because I only watched part of the movie Us with you. Mm-hmm. I came in at a weird time on it, but it was the parts that I saw was good.
I think he said Nope is going to be less commentary.
Okay.
This time around, so that would be interesting to see. But definitely Get Out and definitely Us has a lot of the same kind of commentary to it.
Nice.
Which, like I said, that's just good art. That's what good art does. You know? Yeah, there's movies that are there for you to be fucking stupid to and just zone out and have a good time. But there's also artistic movies. And I think maybe people just didn't quite want that from Candyman. this time around. You know, some people. You know, I don't think a lot of people wanted that from Candyman, even though, like I said, I think a lot of people are confused about that first movie and maybe they need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
Or maybe actually go watch it. I'm starting to believe people don't watch movies.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I don't know. But this movie is great. I loved it. You seem to really love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Candyman from 2021 this month, which I've been trying to I definitely emphasize on that 2021 because if I didn't put the dates on the title of our episodes, we would have done 2 episodes on Candyman.
I know.
Yeah.
And when I sent you the email, I put 2021 on there, so there was no confusion.
Oh, yeah.
Well, obviously, I'm not sending you something from a fucking year ago.
I feel like the marketing also didn't help at the beginning of this.
Oh, yeah, because it's the same name.
Yeah, I think that also confused people, and so people didn't go see it, assuming it's a remake. I think that's also an issue. But anyway, like I said, that's this for this week. Thank you for joining us. Next week, we're getting a little we're getting fucking crazy, man. I saved the craziest movies for last, and the first one, well, not crazy. It's just it's out there. Last Night in Soho is what we're tackling. Edgar Wright's Picture, which I was, man, this movie hit me out of left field. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't seen any trailers. I saw people talking about this movie, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. I ended up watching it 2 times and buying it. It's a great movie. So I can't wait to talk about that with you next week. It's a nice throwback. I will say it's comparable to Suspiria.
Okay.
In a way, yeah. And you'll see it. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm Leigh Evans saying stay spooky.
And I'm Brittany. Stay horrific.
Hey, cool.
I've had enough of you.
You just say Larry the Cable Guy 5 times in the mirror. God damn, that's a horror movie.
Anyway.
You ever fart so hard your back crack? All right, bye. Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorfile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan, used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts and share the show on your social medias. See you next week.